Welcome to Star Watch Now, your front row seat to all the hottest gossip, drama, and breaking news from the world of entertainment. If it's trending, shocking, or star-studded, we're covering it. Stay tuned. You won't want to miss what's coming next. In the glittering world of fame, there are moments that cameras can't capture. But what if they did? One chilling night, when the world slept, the heart of a global icon stopped, and the man who loved him the most collapsed in front of the flashing lights, caught on camera. This is not just a headline. This is a real story. A story about love, pain, survival, and the terrifying moment when Wang Yibo's heart stopped beating, and Xiao Zhan broke down in front of the world. No one expected the moment that would change everything to arrive in such silence. It began as an ordinary evening, the kind that blends into countless others. Bright studio lights, polite laughter between takes, the subtle fatigue of a man who gives more than he shows. Wang Yibo, ever composed, ever in control, was the image of calm. But beneath the surface, something was unraveling. Those who were there recall a quiet shift, a pause between conversations, the way he placed a hand to his chest, as if steadying himself. Then, without warning, he staggered just once and collapsed. No dramatic fall, no cry for help, just the sound of a body giving way. It was terrifying in its simplicity. The world around him slowed. The crew froze. Someone screamed. But in that moment, time seemed to stretch impossibly thin, as if reality couldn't keep pace with what was happening. For 3 long minutes, he didn't move. His eyes didn't flutter. His chest didn't rise. There was only stillness. The paramedics arrived swiftly, yet every second felt like a lifetime. Rumors spread before the ambulance even reached the hospital. Fans were left breathless, colleagues numb, and somewhere across the city, Xiao Zhan, upon hearing the news, fell into a silence deeper than grief. He knew the weight of those minutes could not be undone. What collapsed that night was not just a body. It was the illusion of invincibility, the belief that strength means never breaking. And as the news echoed across screens and borders, a sobering truth settled into millions of hearts. Even the brightest stars can fall. But perhaps, in their falling, they teach us how precious it is simply to rise again. The phone rang once, sharp, unnatural in the dead of night. Xiao Zhan's hand trembled as he answered, still caught somewhere between dream and wakefulness. The voice on the other end was rushed, cracked, filled with a fear that struck straight to the bone. "It's Yibo," the assistant choked out. "He collapsed. We thought he was gone." Time shattered in that instant. The room, the air, even the silence around him seemed to collapse under the weight of those words. Without fully registering what he was doing, Xiao Zhan pulled on the nearest clothes, snatched his keys with one hand and something else with the other. His daughter's drawing, a sketch of the 3 of them smiling beneath a crooked sun. Her small world of innocence, now the only thing tethering his heart from unraveling. The streets were nearly empty, yet the city had never felt so vast. Red lights blurred, horns honked, but none of it mattered. All he could see was Wang Yibo's face, pale and motionless, in the corner of his mind. His thoughts spiraled. What if he was too late? What were Yibo's last thoughts? Did he know he was loved? Every moment of their life together replayed itself in fragments. The way Yibo furrowed his brow when concentrating, the quiet comfort of his presence during hard days, the warmth in his laugh when no one else was listening. These were the things Xiao Zhan clung to as he drove blindly through the darkness, whispering desperate prayers he didn't know he remembered. When he finally reached the hospital, it was chaos. Fans had gathered. Reporters barked questions no one dared to answer. But in that crowd, in that noise, Xiao Zhan was alone. His focus razor sharp. He didn't wait for permission. He didn't ask questions. He ran. Down whitewashed corridors, past sobbing staff, toward the room where fate waited, silent and cruel. Inside, the scene was worse than he had imagined. Machines beeped faintly, monitors flickered. Yibo lay still, almost too still, like a shadow of the man he knew. There was no fire in him now, no strength, just the quiet shell of someone who had given too much for too long. Xiao Zhan took his hand, cold, unfamiliar. He whispered his name again and again, as if the sound alone could bring him back. He told stories from their past, reminded him of birthdays missed, songs half-written, promises left unfinished. He spoke not to fill the silence, but to fight it, because this wasn't just a race through the night. It was a race against regret, against all the words left unsaid, against the cruel possibility that love, even fierce and unshakable, might not be enough to hold someone here. And in that moment, for Xiao Zhan, nothing else existed. Not fame, not fear, not the cameras waiting outside. Only this fragile, flickering hope that somewhere inside the stillness, Wang Yibo could still hear him and choose to stay. In the world of glittering fame and perfectly curated appearances, vulnerability is rarely welcomed and almost never shown. But on that day, everything shattered. Xiao Zhan, usually composed, graceful under pressure, and always mindful of the camera's gaze, could no longer hold back. The breakdown didn't happen in secret. It unfolded under the harshest light of all, the public eye. He emerged from the hospital's ICU, face pale, lips pressed tightly as if trying to hold back everything that threatened to escape. But grief has a way of breaking through even the strongest facades. One step, then another, and then, just outside the ward, his knees buckled. His back hit the wall, his hands shook uncontrollably, and the sob tore from his chest like something primal, raw and desperate. For a brief, excruciating moment, he was no longer the celebrity the world had come to admire. He was just a man who had nearly lost the one person who meant everything. The cameras caught it all. Some zoomed in, some didn't dare, but no one turned away. In that instant, the image of Xiao Zhan changed. To fans, to strangers, to even those who had once criticized his silence. He became something heartbreakingly human. Not the polished actor, not the charming singer, but a partner, a father, a man whose love had been pushed to the very edge of loss. Those who were there say the hallway went still. Nurses paused. Reporters forgot their questions. Even the security guard nearby looked away, as if offering privacy to a man whose soul had momentarily crumbled. But it was more than pain. It was also love, laid bare and unfiltered. Because it takes tremendous love to hurt this deeply. And though the cameras broadcasted his breakdown to millions, what people truly saw was the echo of something real. Uncompromising, vulnerable love that defied image, control, or media spin. In the hours that followed, the footage swept through social platforms like wildfire. People wept. Others sent messages of comfort, unsure how to support someone who had given so much of himself and now stood exposed, stripped of every emotional defense. Critics accused him of performance, of drama, but they missed the point entirely. What happened in that hallway wasn't for a headline. It wasn't for a narrative. It wasn't even meant to be seen. It was the unraveling of a heart that had carried too much for too long. And somewhere, in that breakdown, amid the tears, the silence, the uncontrollable shaking, was a message more powerful than any scripted confession or televised interview. It reminded the world that love isn't always polished or proud. Sometimes it's messy, trembling, on the floor, gasping for air through grief. What Xiao Zhan gave the world in that moment wasn't weakness. It was truth, the kind of truth that touches something far deeper than fame ever could. And for many watching, it was the first time they truly saw him. By morning, it was trending worldwide. Wang Yibo's heart stopped. Xiao Zhan seen crying at his bedside. Millions offered prayers. But some voices turned cruel, blaming Xiao Zhan, accusing him of pushing Yibo too far, too fast, into a life too heavy for one man to carry. One comment read, "You wanted a family. He wanted peace." The court of public opinion? Brutal, unforgiving. 3 days later, something miraculous happened. Their daughter walked into the hospital room holding that same drawing. She placed it gently beside the monitor, then leaned close to her father's ear and whispered, "You can come back now, Papa. We're waiting." And right then, a single tear rolled down Wang Yibo's cheek. Doctors didn't explain it. Science didn't predict it. But hearts don't always follow logic. Just as the world began to exhale, security footage from the night of Yibo's collapse leaked online. What it showed chilled millions. A dark figure standing in the shadows, watching Wang before he fell. In the slowed-down version, some claimed to see a smirk. Others said it was just light distortion. But Wang Yibo knew that face. In a quiet moment, he told Xiao Zhan, "I knew he'd come back. He said he would. He told me I'd regret walking away." Fire, the confrontation no one saw coming. Wang Yibo didn't hide. He didn't run. He went public, not with fear, but with truth. He held Xiao Zhan's hand during a quiet press conference and said, "This is my family. This is my life. And I choose to protect it." That moment shifted everything. From scandal to strength. From whispers to roars of support. Revolving hearts more than fame. A love that fights back. This story isn't about idols. It's not just about drama or hospital beds or online noise. It's about something real. The kind of love that collapses, but rises again. That breaks, but never stops beating. That fights through shadows, storms, and strangers in the dark, just to stay alive. And maybe that's why millions still believe in Xiao Zhan and Wang Yibo. Not because of who they are, but because of what they represent. Lightbulb hope, lightbulb healing, lightbulb and the courage to love, even when the world tells you not to. Megaphone before you go. If this story moved you even just a little, don't forget to white heavy check mark, subscribe to this channel for more heartfelt stories and exclusive moments. Red heart like this video to support content that uplifts, inspires, and dares to show the human side of our idols. Bell and tap that notification bell, so you never miss what matters most. Thank you for being here. Thank you for feeling with us. And always remember, even in the darkest silence, love still speaks.